one of the notions as well, I think, I forgot to say at the time, what you were describing were starseeds, what some people call starseeds, isn't it? With people returning
Yes.
to the dream, or returning to the realm to
Because there's no
achieve
time,
it or whatever.
because there's no past and future. There's only the mind. Now. And either you're in the false mind, or you're out of the false mind. And if you step out of the false mind and you're clear, then you can be sent in on a mission, kind of thing, you know? And I like the idea of sleeping agents. So with the miracle workers, those who are
light workers,
the light workers, they've come in, they kind of forgotten for the time being, but suddenly they get a call, and the course talks about this call. And for me, when I heard the word miracle, it just, the name of the course played on something with me. It was like I just had a phone call come through, and it just said, miracle. Oh God, I remember what I'm here for.
Wake up, yeah.
I've remembered what remembered. I know what I'm doing here.
And it's even
because I've come from outside, I've come in, and I've now got to use the manual to help people wake up.
It's like a magician that puts you under a hypnotist or whatever, that puts you under spell. They always have a word which they can get you out of the spell. So it's almost like, we're going to have to send you in under this spell, because in order to get into this realm, you need to act like you are a limited being with it, that can live under these laws and learn these languages and learn all these kind of histories and science and stuff like that. So you need to believe you're a much more limited being than you actually are. But don't worry, because at some point in this dream of you being a limited being, we will trigger an event, a word, a thing that will suddenly guide you to wake up and remember your mission. And that's really interesting, because I think something has happened recently, probably in the last, even in the last 5 years, that has triggered a mass kind of waking up to a purpose. Because we have a lot of people now awakening to a purpose much bigger than themselves, much greater than themselves, and they are collectively working to bring about a paradigm shift, an ultimate change, and moving into a new reality.